Hello, my name is Vlad Musatov, and I will be your host for this practical show called Reality Business. The contents of this practical course are quite comprehensive and have a lot of do-it-yourself chapters. The first chapter is dedicated to something called an organizing board. Before we start, I would like to go over the purpose of this chapter with you. It's a well-known fact that an organized business is more successful than one which isn't. It's also a well-known fact that constructing the right foundation for a building is the basis of its stability and longevity, and that's obvious. That is why chaos, disorder, and lack of organization lead to upsets, failures, and poverty. Here we can make a simple and obvious conclusion. If a person has the right information about the interaction of a group, and at the same time this person has certain skills which it can use in applying that knowledge, we can then expect that this person and his group members will do very well and will more than likely be successful. It's quite rare that a person will work single-handed. Working in a group is an activity that basically all of us take part in, regardless of whether that group is a company, an organization, a city, or even a country. And that's where we get a very important question. The main question basically, which is there such a thing as a universally applicable and effective organizing board for any group, regardless of what it does? You know, we carried out a very profound analysis on this subject and came to a certain conclusion. The inference you make is really up to you. But what we did is try to put together and formulate the material of this practical show in such a way as to make it easy for you to sort through all of it and then apply it. As I've already told you, we made a thorough comparative analysis of various management systems existing at this time. There actually aren't that many of them, to be honest. I'm talking about things like ISO 9000, the Qualified MBA program, Balanced Scorecard, and others. Each one of these management systems has a lot of common sense. One is really well thought out in finance, another in marketing, and another yet in planning, etc. But the whole system has to be logical, complete, without any admitted or extraneous or contradictory data. And that's where, in our opinion, the most interesting is the Hubbard Management System. This administrative management technology is described by an American philosopher and scientist, L. Ron Hubbard. And from all the administrative management systems we looked at, we believe this one to be the most complete and the most integrated. Practically any profession has its tools of the trade. A janitor has a broom, a surgeon has a scalpel, a carpenter has got his hammer, and a pianist has the piano, etc. Let's take a look at the profession of administrator. Does this profession have any tools of its own? The first thing an executive or manager at any level needs to know is that he has tools with which to manage. The breakthrough was in discovering that a great many executives did not look upon these as tools. L. Ron Hubbard. In other words, the first thing you have to realize before anything else is that an executive and a staff member is an executive of his own area, by the way, have their own tools. And then one has to know these tools and of course use them to be more effective in business and in life. And that's what we're going to take up. We have a lot to learn. When we put this practical show together, we were aware that you'll only stay interested if you understand all of what you were learning, and if you can understand it, then you'll be able to apply it in life. Understanding and then being able to apply what you learned are definitely the main criteria of any worthwhile education. Why is it that the word education often brings up negative feelings? Let's take a look and remember how we learnt. The problem is clarified in full by the fact that our educational system is built this way. In our classes and during our lectures we got some data, and then when exams came around we had to show that we supposedly learned that data so that we could get a college or a university diploma. And to do that we had to learn these data by rote and then rattle them off at examination time, very often having no clue what the purpose of all that was to us and how to apply it in life. Possibly someone does not agree with what I say, but that's only a few people. Let's really look at the truth here. Most of us did just that. In other words, the main purpose for education was a diploma as opposed to real knowledge. And deep down in our hearts we knew that this was far from ideal as far as our education goes, but we really and unfortunately had no alternative. I'll give you an example from my own life. I remember studying for an examination on this subject. History of International Communist Labour and Nationalistic Freedom Movement. No more, no less, but that exactly. No one in our class understood what this was for, but we had to pass the examination. 3 days of rote memorization and 90% of the possible examination question slips were stuffed in my head. And then when I went to take the exam, just like a barrel filled to the brim with precious knowledge, I had only one thought in mind: not to splash that knowledge on the way and bring it safely to the examiner. I got really lucky at the exam. Which question slip do you think I got? Exactly. The one which didn't fit in my head. I'll tell you later how it is that I got lucky. I got a C, which immediately crashed my dreams of graduating with honours. So I had to be complacent with just a regular diploma. But I have no regrets. Possibly this will seem strange to you, but it's at that point that I decided, why stress yourself? It's enough to imitate the study process. It was that decision that got me out of the rote study by memory, out of sleepless nights, and most importantly, out of a huge amount of misunderstood words. Because, as I later found out, it was misunderstood words that are the reason why people are not successful in life. Let's see if we can illustrate all this with a simple example. Take a piece of paper and pencil. Now let's do this. Draw a house. Good. Draw a tree. Thank you. Draw the sun. Good. Now draw a scumger. You see? That's how it works. A misunderstood word blocks a person's actions and doesn't allow him to get the desired result. The only medicine for this is clearing the misunderstood word scumger. Let's clear the word scumger. It means bench in Russian. Okay, so draw a bench. This is factually how a person gets dumber as he or she goes through life, by accumulating uncleared, misunderstood words. Learning through our practical show Reality Business has nothing to do with a school or a college education. This is not education because your parents insist, or because you need a certain status or a diploma. This is education for you. And in conclusion to our introduction here, I would like to tell you the main purpose of the upcoming chapter once again. It's giving you the true data on how any group should operate, and demonstrating to you how you could use this data in all areas of your life. Alright, we'll consider that you're ready to start learning the actual materials of the practical course. Let's go!